cue in front of anything that you say that is a question so that I don't miss it. Curtis is going to give us 10, 15, 20 minutes of kind of what he does and what he has to communicate with. Then, with that being said, then I'm going to answer any questions that you guys might have, or he is. I have several questions for him if you guys don't have any. But guys, you guys are absolutely going to love this guy. So I'm going to welcome in right now. And what is up, Curtis?
Hey, Tyson. Thanks so much for having me.
No, I appreciate it, and like I was saying, I feel like this is something special that everyone's going to get out of. Uh, it's a weird time. It's a Wednesday. It's everyone's getting home from work and it's family, so we get a lot of people who are going to listen to this after, and it's just really really cool that you are taking time out of your day to be with us. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm honored. I love what you're doing and so glad that we get to call each other friends.
Right. Yeah, I thought it was funny. One of the leaders in the church was reading a letter and it was talking about your seminar that you're putting for. I'm like, shut up. That's so cool.
I know him. Is
Yeah.
that the UCAP, the Utah Coalition Against Pornography,
Yeah.
on Saturday?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
I thought that was so cool. But guys, Curtis, if you want to put the presentation on and I'll let you go and let you do your thing so that everyone can.
Okay, that sounds good. I will share
So
my screen.
yeah, and everyone, we have a lot of comments here already, and they're just saying hi to everyone. So yeah, I think a lot of people are going to enjoy this. All
Excellent.
right, the floor is yours, my friend. And I may stop you just to ask you some questions that these guys in the chat. They're friends now. Um, Not a lot of us have met in person, but it feels like we know each other very closely, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And we have a wonderful community here. And so if I want to, if they have something that's pertinent to what you're saying, I'm definitely going to, when the time is right to ask you if that's cool.
Yep. Interrupt whenever you need. Just jump in. That sounds good.
All right. Well, the floor is yours, my friend.
Okay. Sounds good. And what I'd love to do is is just dive into counterfeit emotions and this idea of what is a counterfeit emotion and and why this is so important. So it's we've got a little guy on the bottom. There we go. All right, got rid of him. So what is a counterfeit emotion? Have you ever just felt out of sorts? Like you thought you were doing what's right, you thought you were working hard to live a good life, and all of a sudden you just feel out of balance. You just feel like, I don't know what's going on in my life, but there's this disconnect, this piece that says I don't really feel myself. Like, have you ever
You know
done
what?
that?
Can I tell you a story about that?
Yeah, yeah,
I,
please.
I think I told them there's some wins. We talk every Friday. I do a show here called Built with Style, and it's all about men's grooming and women's too. And we talk about our wins at the beginning of every show. I'm like, give me your wins for the week, and to me it's important. And I was telling them when so Ellie, my middle daughter, she just got her license. Bless her heart, she's wonderful. But while she was learning how to drive, she hit a curb on a roundabout, and it slashed my tire. I
Oh
mean,
no.
it slashed. It was a Sunday, and we were just going for a drive from grandma's to back to our house, and she's been there a million times. And I had just bought those tires a couple of days ago, the days prior, and it looked like someone took a knife and went, and I didn't buy the roadside assistance. I didn't. I'm like suck. And, you know what I mean, and like, a lot of our money goes into Copper Johns, our personal money, still because we're
Yeah.
grown. And I'm not. This is not complaining, but at the time it hurt because it's a Sunday. I have to go to work tomorrow. I have to have this car. This is going to cost me an additional $200 that I don't necessarily have. And I told Candace, I feel like God hates me. I feel
Mhm.
like something wrong in my life because this sucks. Like we cannot get a win if my life depended on it. And then Candace literally just looked at me and got me out of this counterfeit emotion that we were talking about and just said, Tyson, I believe in you. I love you, and I know you can get through this. And I'm like, that's all I need. And I got out of it immediately. And,
Mm.
and we go and they're like, hey, you did just buy these a couple days ago. We're going to give you a significant discount, like $34. And I just
Oh
saw these
wow.
things stack up from that. And it's just like, you're talking about these emotions, and I'm like, dude, I just had an episode where I'm just like, I got out of it quick, but I got in there really quick, and it's just like how fast these emotions happen. So sorry to I just thought, Chris needs to know this because this is something that I just went through, and I feel like all of us in this chat has felt these before.
Yeah. And that's the thing is we feel in the exact same way we breathe, meaning you can't turn either one off. There isn't a nanosecond in your life where you stop feeling. You always feel. There's always some emotion going on inside. That's how our bodies were created, was to feel. And every decision we make is based off of feeling, not necessarily logic. And we use logic to back up our feelings, but every single decision we make is based on a feeling. And so understanding those feelings, understanding those emotions is so critical, because if we can understand them, and then we can use them as our superpower instead of our kryptonite, then we're going to succeed in life. And not only are we going to succeed, we're going to succeed with peace, with joy. We're going to succeed in ways that we may not have even known were available to us when we start to understand what's happening inside. So, diving into what is a counterfeit emotion, if we look at the definition of a counterfeit emotion, it's an emotion that looks, acts, and feels like an authentic emotion, but creates a destructive pattern of disconnection in our lives. And that's really key, is understanding that it creates these destructive cycles of disconnection in our life. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. That brings up the point, well, then what's an authentic emotion? An authentic emotion is an emotion that serves us, an emotion that takes us where we want to go, so that we can progress, we can grow, we can find the one emotion that has no counterfeit. And we'll talk about what that one emotion is here in a minute. If anybody's got a guess, what is the one emotion that can't be counterfeited? Put it in the chat, and we'll see if anybody has
I'm
an
actually
idea.
kind of curious because I think I got it wrong when you told me the first time.
Yeah, let's see what everybody says. What's the one emotion that can't be counterfeited? Any ideas?
It takes a minute for everyone like. It takes like a couple seconds for the internet to like decide to tell us what.
Oh, there we go.
um, Grief, love.
Here they come. They're rolling in.
But those are the two so far that we got.
Okay. All right. If you guys have any thoughts, throw them in there. These are good answers. There's only one emotion that can't be counterfeited, and that emotion is peace. Stands alone. It's unique. Peace is universal. There's no one on planet Earth that doesn't want peace in their life. And peace doesn't mean absence of the storm. Peace means safety and security in the storm. And not only is peace,
I love that.
oh, thanks, man. Yeah, not only is peace unique in the counterfeit emotions framework, but if you look at the neuroscience of peace, it every other emotion is is marked with a sensory perception. So if we feel fear, and we'll talk about fear here in a minute. If we feel fear, it has a bunch of brain chemicals. It has cortisol. It has epinephrine. It has all of these things that squirt in your brain to say, hey, this is that emotion. Peace is unique. Peace doesn't have that. There is no brain chemical that says this is peace. And so it is a very special, very unique emotion. And if we dive into the criteria, this is how to tell that whether you're feeling authentic or whether you're feeling counterfeit. And I put shun at the end so everybody can remember it easy. but it's connection, direction, motivation, and valuation. And let's dive into this. Let's start with connection. What do I mean by connection? Connection starts with self. Number one, does this emotion connect me with me? And I don't mean me with my body. Does it connect me with my body? I don't mean me with my accomplishments or my weaknesses. I mean, does this emotion connect me with that beautiful, brilliant diamond that is my soul, that can't be tarnished, that can't be broken? Does it connect me with me? Then the second part of this connection is, does it connect me with others? Do I, when I feel this emotion, does it, is it a bonding emotion? Is it a bonding experience with others? Do I want to share? Do I want to call my friend Tyson and be like, dude, you got to hear what just happened. This is awesome. That's the connecting emotion. Then the third one is, does it connect me with God or my higher power? And does it connect me with truth? And then the final one is, does it connect me with purpose? If this emotion connects me in those ways, really good chance that's an authentic emotion. If it disconnects, if you're feeling an emotion that I just want to go to the basement and play Xbox for 6 hours, or I just want to disconnect from my friends, I don't want to see people, those are counterfeit emotions.
I
So
have a
that's it.
question about that when we get to that point.
Yeah, please. Do you want to do it now or just
Um, I'm going to say it, but if you're going to answer it later on, you'll please hold off.
okay?
But what you talk soon you'll be talking about like guilt, grief,
Yeah,
shame, all
yeah,
that kind of stuff.
yeah.
What what is how can you tell the difference between depression and shame?
Mm, yeah. This is a really good question because emotions don't come individually. The number one truth is we're always feeling. We will never stop feeling. Number two truth is that we feel a lot of things simultaneously. So
Oh,
so we can feel shame and depression at the same time. In fact,
can shame lead to depression?
oh yeah, Brene Brown, as well as the University of Oslo, they both did independent studies, and they looked at shame and guilt. We'll talk a lot about shame and guilt. Um,
I think that's really important. I think these guys would really. This was freaking mind blowing when I heard this. So I'll you do your thing. I just like I'm so excited to get to that point. So you continue and I'll shut up.
okay, actually, we'll leave a little cliffhanger for the study from Brene Brown and the
Yeah.
University of Oslo. But let's dive into the second criteria. The second criteria is direction, and this was fascinating when I did the research on this. And right now, the research, I'm probably 8 or 9 years in, not quite a full decade of the research on this, but the an authentic emotion, what I found is every authentic emotion, it takes us forward, upward, or brings us together. That's the direction of the emotion. Like, you think about love. What does love do? Love brings people together. It is a huge motivator. It will absolutely bring you higher, and it will bring you together. Now, let's think about the counterfeits. And this is where it got fascinating. I thought
Mhm.
it was going to be the opposite, that it was going to be backwards, downwards, etc. It's not. There's only one direction the counterfeit emotion takes us, and that is back to itself. A counterfeit emotion will spin back to itself. And it will do this spin cycle because it has to feed on itself to survive. And a great example of this is the difference between pain and misery. You see misery up there on the top, right? Misery is that
Mhm.
top circle. Everybody knows the saying, no pain, no gain,
No game.
right? Everybody also knows the saying for misery. Misery loves
Company.
company. Why? Why does misery love company? And why does pain take us to gain? Because pain is actually an authentic emotion. And I know that this one, like, people are like, wait, what? He just said pain is authentic. I was like, okay, time to click the end button. Like, it's like, but pain takes us somewhere. Pain actually has a really important purpose. There is no faster, more efficient way to grow than through pain. Pain is the fastest way to grow. And it's not like we go search out pain. It's not like we're like, hey, let's go put ourselves in really horrible situations. No, that's not what we do. But a truth of life, and it's this paradox, is that pain is a tool for growth. Pain is a tool for learning. Pain is a tool to elevate us to a different sphere. Now, you ask that same thing about misery. Misery loves company, right? Because
Mhm.
misery has to feed on itself or else it dies. If you don't feed misery with more misery, it will naturally just wither up and you'll stop feeling miserable. And this is really important. Misery has two base emotions. The first is blame, the second is shame. You want to live a miserable life, get into blaming people and get into shaming, whether it's shaming yourself or shaming others. That's the direct path into misery. And it just circles. Misery loves company because it wants people to complain with you. It wants people to be like, oh yeah, you're right, that was so horrible. And it just builds the more misery we give it. But we stop
What
blaming.
if you blame yourself and not others?
Same thing. Yeah.
No, that's what I mean. It seems like a lot of my stuff is, I blame me. I'm not blaming other people. I don't get I really like, there's no jealousy. Maybe there's envy.
Uh,
Man, I wish I could do that, or, that's, but jealousy is not a thing for me, but I blame myself. I'm like, I'm not there because I chose not to be. Like, it's my fault. I'm not good enough to do that. And I've tried really hard to change my mindset that way. I'm like, no, I can run a freaking marathon. And so I'm going to run a marathon. And, last year I'm like, there's no freaking way. But now I'm like, I'm going to do it. So there's things that I'm changing, but I used to just blame myself. Like, I'm fat. I eat a lot. I can't run this.
yeah.
And, and so it seems like that created a lot of shame in my life.
Yes, absolutely. Because yes, blaming and shaming they go hand in hand, and that creates misery. That is misery.
Yeah.
Is and you think about when you're in that mindset versus the new mindset, the new Tyson that is just jacked and is going to run a marathon. And like measure
I can't
your.
believe I posted it.
By the way, I'm signed up. I'm doing the half, and then I'm going to come back
Oh,
and get
that's so
you,
cool.
and we'll run through the finish line together. So yeah, but you think
I have
about
6 hours to finish it, that's all I say. I'm like, even if it takes me 6 hours, I'm happy.
sweet, it's sweet. So, but you think about your life before when it was like, oh, I'm so dumb. I'm so fat. I can't do this. Who am I to ever think that I could help other men with their mental health? Like, that's a miserable existence. And that's the victim mindset. The victim mindset says, I'm going to blame everybody. I'm going to start right here. I'm going to start blaming me, and then it's just going to spread. And that is misery. And when we
How
scrape
is
that away,
nice? Right next to misery, you have nice. How is nice a counterfeit emotion?
ooh, okay, we need to dig into that one because this
You
one,
didn't I've never talked to you about that, and I think that I didn't resonate or, like, see that last time because I was so into the misery. Because the misery and the anxiety made sense to me. I'm like, "Oh my goodness." But nice, I'm like, "Wait, what?"
right? Right.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, no, no, no. My mom and my teachers and my at church, every school,
Yeah.
everybody said be nice.
Mhm.
And yeah, we're gonna get deep into that because I think that's actually maybe where we go with a lot of this because it is absolutely game changing. It will change your life if you stop being nice. And instantly, people, when I say that, a lot of people say, well, wait, what's the alternative? If I'm not nice, then I'm swinging the pendulum to the other side and that means I have to be mean?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is no. The opposite of uncentered, if you're looking at this pendulum swinging back and forth, the opposite of uncentered is still uncentered. Mean and nice, they're both way up here on the pendulum, and they take a ton of effort to hold up both of them. But when we stop the mood swings and we find center, that's where we find kind. And kind is the authentic
Okay,
version.
just said that.
The Busy Bee Collective, right on. You know it. Be kind, not nice. Yeah, and we'll dig into that a bunch. But the direction of the counterfeit emotion is just back to itself. Fear fuels fear. Anxiety breeds anxiety. Misery loves company. It just comes back to itself. Being caught in the nice guy trap, you just keep coming back. And so our second criteria is direction. Our third criteria is motivation. And if you look at the authentic, every authentic emotion is grounded in love and surrender. I call these meta emotions. So every single one is in love and surrender. And a lot of, especially men, when they hear the word surrender, they're thinking,
Mm-hmm.
wave the white flag, throw in the towel, I give up. No, that's the counterfeit. The counterfeit of surrender is resignation. Surrender says, I'm going to do my best and give God the rest. I'm going to do everything.
So is that more like humility?
Yeah, it's very humble. It's incredibly humble to say, I'm going to do everything I can, but then I'm going to stop trying to control the outcome. I'm the opposite of surrender is control.
Dude, that's hard for a lot of people to not control the outcome.
Yeah.
And just let it happen. That's hard. I actually just did a post on that just yesterday or 2 days ago, about how we need to just like trust the process. If we have a goal in mind, we trust the process. We don't try to control the outcome, because the outcomes will come to us because of the process. And I think, dude, that's perfect. I love what you just said.
Yeah, thanks. And Beards and Blessed 7, we put in the book proposal Monday. So we're looking at a September date for the book launch. So thanks for saying that. That's awesome.
Jordan's awesome.
Right on, Jordan. If we look at the counterfeit emotions and what are the motivations there, let's see. Okay, guys, throw it in the chat. Let's see if we can get the chat working. What do you think the counterfeit emotions are based on? There's two emotions, two meta emotions that every counterfeit emotion has. Just like the authentic had love and surrender. What do you guys think is the motivation behind the counterfeit emotions? Let's see if we can do this. I know there's a little bit of a lag.
Yeah. I know I got every time you said what is the counterfeit emotion, I got it wrong.
Actually, no. When we did the I love you, bro.
Well, I knew it by then because you were on the podcast. And I'm telling all the Ogden guys, I'm like, this. We talked about this.
That was awesome.
Ooh,
I love it.
Salt and paprika.
Oh, overcompensation. Ooh, that's a good one. Anxiety and fear, right on. Shame. Oh, these are good answers. These are really good answers. Yeah, love it. Keep them coming. So every counterfeit emotion is based in fear and control. You got pride, yeah. And actually pride is fear and control. Like you throw those two together, you get pride.
Jordan got half of it right.
Yeah. Yeah, way to go. And here's what's really cool. And I want to push pause for a minute and put an asterisk right here. A lot of times when I first describe counterfeit emotions to people, they go, "Oh, counterfeit emotions are bad." And I really want to make sure that everyone knows there's no such thing as a bad emotion. There's authentic emotions and counterfeit emotions, but neither one are bad.
Can I tell you what I think about why you say that?
Yeah, please.
I think counterfeit emotions happen in our lives, but but because they have to happen, but it doesn't mean we need to resonate in them. Like you said before, you just let them go. You let them flow like the clouds. Dude, that was a perfect freaking analogy that you had. I'm saying freaking a lot tonight. It's a perfect analogy. It's just like a cloud. You just let them pass. Like anxiety. There's true like desperation when you have anxiety. But
Yeah.
when you have anxiety, it's there for a purpose to teach you, or like, hey, you probably should do this, and then you're done. But if you stop and you hold on to that, you're not going to continue moving progressing forward because you stopped moving forward. You stopped and just stayed there instead of just doing the thing that the anxiety is telling you to do. I don't know. I'm just talking out of my butt right now. I'll let you do your thing.
Dude, you've got one smart butt. Um, that was awesome. That was awesome. Oh, yeah, it's so true because every emotion, even the counterfeit ones, every emotion brings a message. The trick is when we turn the messenger into the dictator.
Mhm.
When we turn that messenger into the dictator and say, you know what, you drive my life. I'm feeling an emotion. I have to act on that emotion. I'm feeling fear. I have to act on that. I'm feeling control. I'm feeling anger. I'm feeling anxiety. I have to act on that. And the truth is, you don't. You don't have to act on any emotion. In fact, if you look at the way the brain works, between stimulus and response is a gap. And we get to choose what to do between stimulus and response. And it doesn't mean that we stop feeling. No, it means that we feel and make a choice. Oftentimes in life, we feel anger and we're like, oh, I'm going to act on that anger right now. And we don't have to. We can say, you know what? I'm feeling this and I'm going to continue feeling it, but I'm just going to watch it. I'm just going to watch this emotion float through my soul like a cloud in the sky.
I
And
love that.
and when we do that, that they actually just published a study at the beginning of this year that said the number one skill in emotional intelligence is to have an emotion without acting on it. And so even when the counterfeits come in, and I actually Fear and I we've become friends. We've become friends because I know what fear feels like. I know it really well. Fear in my body, physically, it feels like this steel band across my chest. And it feels like it's just squeezing in, and my breath gets shallow, my heart rate goes up, my palms get sweaty, and um and I know what that feels like. And so when it comes, that is my number one signal to me to say, oh hey, this is a counterfeit.
Mhm.
I can recognize this as a counterfeit, and I can just watch that cloud float through the sky of my soul and do nothing about it, but just
So
watch.
every emotion that either creates like you have to have the control or you have to have the fear is counterfeit. Let me make sure I understand that. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yes.
That makes everything so simple to understand that. Um, I want to Jordan said also, I can imagine it shows in your outward and visible signs to everyone else, which is in counterfeit shows others that you are not in control. And then Kay says, will you please elaborate? Because as someone who has always bottled my emotions, I'm trying not to do so anymore.
Oh, that's so good. Who is that, Kay?
Okay, the Busy Bee Collective.
Okay, awesome.
And I'm
Thank you.
gonna I left a drink in the freezer and it's going to explode if I don't get it. So will you keep talking?
Okay, go get your drink, and thank you guys for that, because bottling up emotions is called overregulation. So we want to be regulated, not dysregulated, and we want to make sure that if we're bottling up emotions, that the understanding is that's just as unhealthy as letting them underregulate and swing the pendulum to the other side. So I'm actually going to show a pendulum here in just a second so we can dive dive into that a little bit more. But I love that you asked that questions, because bottled up emotions, it turns out, are actually less healthy and turn into bigger explosions than underregulation. If we overregulate for too long, it goes back to the idea of trying to hold our breath. If we're overregulating and sticking these emotions in the steel box in our heart and just clamping it down as tight as we can, at some point it's going to explode. And so I love that you recognize that. I really love that. And and yes, when you feel counterfeit emotions, it shows. It shows. You might be trying to stuff it down and suppress it, but people can see it. People can feel it. You've actually got your heart actually produces an electromagnetic field. And when you feel an emotion, that field changes. And this isn't woo woo, mystic, whatever. This is science. Like you can go to the hospital and measure the electromagnetic field of your heart. It's called an EKG, and um, and you actually can measure it at home. Most people have a magnetic field about 3 to 6 feet, and we either attract or we repel people with the emotions that we're feeling. I know that's kind of a mind-blowing concept, but it's not only something people can see, but it's something people can feel as well. So the last criteria is divine worth. Every authentic emotion says, I'm divine, I have infinite worth, and you're divine, you have infinite worth. I truly believe there's no such thing as a bad person. I truly believe that. There are some really horrible actions, but I don't believe there's such a thing as a bad person. That we all have divine worth, every single one of us. And when we can see that in ourselves and then see it in others, it is an amazing level of connection that at times we may not even understand. Counterfeit emotions say we're worthless, and
This
not.
is why I want you to get into,
Yeah,
because it's uh, I not everyone believes in a higher entity like you and I do, and I understand that. But I feel like the adversary of that divine nature that we're talking about tells us that we're worthless, and I really believe that it pushes that. And so I love this part of it.
yeah. And not only does it say we're worthless, so let's start at zero. But if we break that word apart, it says we're worth less. So we're already at zero, but because my beard is not nearly as cool as Tyson's beard, then
My beard is not nearly as cool as everyone in the chat.
then I'm worth less. And because I can't bench as much as Tyson, I'm worth less. And because Salt and Paprika has this cool whatever, I'm worth. Do you have a truck, Salt and Paprika? Then I'm worth less. And we just keep notching down, but we start at zero with the counterfeit emotions. They say you're worthless. And now we're going to knock you down even more and go into the negative. And that is so important to understand, that if I'm feeling an emotion like that, that's counterfeit. That is not an authentic emotion. And I said it before, but I'm going to say it again. We are not our emotions. We are not our thoughts. We are not our wins and our losses, our successes and our failures. We are not any of those things. That is not the true nature of me. I am so much more. And you are so much more. And you're just as valuable as I am. And understanding that on a deep level is so critical. It's so, so critical. So let's talk about some of these authentic and counterfeit pairs, if we can. There's love and lust. Notice on the left side is the authentic, and on the right is counterfeit. Pain and misery, we talked about that. Excellence and perfectionism. Kind versus nice. Oof, there's that one. We'll dig in there. Guilt and shame. So powerful, guilt and shame. Advocacy versus
I
anger.
think that really has affected me in my life.
Tell me more.
Um, and I might be wrong, and it's not shame, but it's more when I was in my 30s. So I'm 46 now. When I was 32, 33, I really was looking at myself, thinking I was worthless. That I didn't deserve my wife and family because I wasn't able to provide them what I'm seeing online, what I'm seeing my friends are like their houses were nice, that all this. And so I have always thought, my worth was based on what I can provide for my family. And
Mhm.
so if I can provide more for them, then I'm a better husband and father. And I felt that in a and I still battle that. I still battle that. And so I have given myself, like I said, I blame myself, and that has given me a lot of shame. And I've gone in that misery loop over and over and over. And I'm getting out of it and I'm battling out of it. And I feel like I've actually gotten pretty close to like every now and then I catch myself, but I catch myself because I know what I'm doing. Does that make sense? Like I'm starting to get a little bit more emotional intelligence. But at the same time, I still have a hard time where I'm like, my family deserves better. They
Mm.
that type, and it's not that I'm a bad husband or father, but it's that I can't provide what I wish I could provide them. And it hurts me and they're grateful what they have and stuff. It's just like, you know what I mean? It's just like I wanted so much for my family, and sometimes I'm like, I wish we could do that, but we can't. Or I wish I could get that, but we can't. And it kind of sucks sometimes, like, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then so that's it hits home for me.
Yeah. And it's really interesting because that was one that hit home for me too. And if I can get vulnerable, like you see here, advocacy and anger, then power and control, recovery and sobriety. This is one for me that was huge. Is is uh, throughout my life, off and on, I struggled with pornography and understanding the difference between recovery and sobriety and being able to get rid of shame. Like this was huge for me. Even though on the outside you would have thought, oh, Curtis has got it all together. He's this fancy tech CEO and blah, 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 and all this stuff. Inside, I was carrying shame. And I had this sobriety mindset. And that's what I'm talking about on Saturday is we're going deep dive into recovery versus sobriety at the Utah Coalition Against Pornography conference, and not even believing, not even having any type of hope that I could recover, that I was just going to have to take this to my grave. And now I understand that that's a lie. The old adage, once an addict, always an addict, is such a lie. And if we get into the authentic, we get rid of the shame and get into guilt, it literally changes your life. It is amazing. It's so amazing. I saw a comment about confidence and hubris. Hubris is bravado, it's machismo. It's a Greek word that basically means, here comes my ego. And so that's the counterfeit there. Admiration and worship. This one's really important. Hope and expectation.
What does confidence feel like?
What is
How do you
com-
know the difference between how like dead serious, how do you know you're confident rather than cocky? Because I always battle that because I'm like, am I humble enough? Like, no joke, as I get older and stuff, I'm like, and as middle age mayhem kind of takes off, and as dad boss kind of takes off, I always want to make sure that I'm humble enough and realize that I never want to get full of myself, and that's important to me because I always want to be able to just love everyone and never judge or anything like that. So, how do you know when you're getting cocky rather than confident?
oh, I love that. So that goes back to that third criteria, motivation. What is the motivation of every authentic?
So fear and control. If I want control, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Or fear
Is-
that okay.
Yeah. Fear and control is that cockiness, that bravado, that machismo, the hubris. Confidence, confidence is where surrender comes in. And and it's so fascinating because you can have confidence, and you can see this in people. You can see this, that they have a confidence, they have a surety that they know, regardless of what's going to happen in the future, I'm okay. And it doesn't mean I'm better. It doesn't mean that I'm better than. It means I'm okay. And I know that I'm okay because I have created the skills inside of myself to be able to figure out whatever the situation is. And
So
it
is what I'm feeling so is what I'm feeling, is that counterfeit because I'm feeling, fear and wanting control that everyone knows that I'm not cocky?
isn't that a paradox?
Yeah, I don't know, I don't know, that just, like, threw me for a loop. I'm like, "Okay, so what I'm feeling is a counterfeit, so what am I feeling?
Yeah. And
Is
here's the
that
trick.
shame?"
Here's the trick. Like with that cockiness, it is so it does such a good job of counterfeiting, because you can do something great like run a marathon, right? And like you can go and do this great thing and have a confidence inside yourself that I'm going to make it to the end. I'm going to make it to that 26.2 mile mark. And the confidence says, yeah, I believe I can do this. Cockiness says, hey, everybody, look how cool I am because I can do this. And now I'm better than you. And now I'm this great
I
guy.
can never imagine feeling that way.
Yeah. And the trick is that when we get to that finish line with the marathon, we can feel an intense amount of joy. We can feel
Dude, I
just,
cried when I ran the half.
I remember so well.
I was not expecting that.
And I loved it because we can experience joy with confidence. And as long as it's based in love and surrender, then it becomes authentic. As soon as it becomes like this control, like I need to tell everybody, I need to make sure everybody on the planet Earth validates me and tells me I'm of worth because I did 26.2 miles, right? And that's the difference. That's what's so
Love that.
powerful. Yeah. And so I'll touch on just a couple more: joy and pleasure, but connection versus attachment. In family
Mhm.
life, in business, in friendship, the goal is connection. The goal is connection. It's really interesting because I'm part of a mastermind group of CEOs and people that have had, have done a lot in their professional career. And every month we meet, and there's usually a presentation. And this one particular presentation this last month, they said, "What's your definition of success?" And at first I'm like, "Oh, I know what that is," because most of my life it was based on bank account and how many magazine articles were written about me and how many awards was I winning and blah blah blah. And I was like, that's not my definition of success anymore. My definition of success is surrender and connection.
Oh, wow.
My definition of success is how willing am I to surrender to this beautiful, chaotic, wonderful, hard thing called life? How willing am I to surrender to that? And how much connection can I make? And my definition of success has changed so dramatically. And connection is counterfeited by attachment, that I'm only of worth if I'm married. I'm only of worth if I have my awards or my magazine articles. I'm only of worth if I have this attachment. And if you look at the Buddhist philosophy, one of the core tenets of Buddhism is that all sorrow comes from attachment. And that can be attachment to a title, that can be attachment to a label, that can be attachment to an accomplishment. It may be attachment to a failure or attachment to shame. But we attach, saying that somehow my worth is dependent on this. And we think, oh, You know, this is going to ruin the radio for everybody, and I apologize up front. I apologize that from now on, when you listen to the radio, you're going to hear this. But how many love songs are there that says, "I'm nothing without you. I can't live without you. You are the reason for my life. You are the reason for, you know." There's so many songs going through my head right now. and and that's an unhealthy attachment that breeds codependence and breeds all of these things. Whereas true connection says, I by myself am whole. And I want to roll down this road of life with you, but I don't have to be part of you to do it. I'm whole, you're whole. Together, we get to go on this journey rather than saying, I have to somehow fit into, like, my wedge of me has to fit into the Pac Man of you, and we have to roll down as the same entity. No, that's attachment. Connection says, I'm going to roll right here on my journey, and I would love you to roll with me. I'm gonna be paddling my canoe, but we're not in the same boat. We're going in the same river or the same lake, but we're not in the same boat. But we can still connect. We can still go down this life together. And that's beautiful. When I was dating my Patty, and I gotta show everybody. This is my Patty.
I love that. You say Patty. This is my Patty.
I am very convinced she is the best human on planet Earth. And she's amazing. And when we were dating, I told her, I said, the most romantic thing you can say to me is, I don't need you. And I know that goes against every Hallmark movie ever made. but the reason I said that is because if you want me without needing me, that's love. If your worth is based on whether I'm around or not, that's not love. That's dependence. That's attachment. It's not connection. It's not love. So that's the first part of the list. Here's the second. And we'll just go through these quick. We've got abundance and accumulation, empathy versus sympathy, freedom versus comfort, gratitude versus toxic positivity, victor versus victim, awe and wonder versus obsession, faith versus fear. Oh, this one right here. Let me zoom in again. Curiosity versus suspicion. You guys, if you want to change your marriage, get curious. I used to think that love was the antidote to anger. I used to think that for my whole life. Love is the antidote for anger. It's not. Curiosity is the antidote for anger. You cannot be curious and angry at the same time. And as soon as you're curious, it dissolves the anger in the other person. And if we can just let go of our ego and say, you know what? I want to see you. I want to truly see you, feel you, understand what you are experiencing, regardless of, even if the words you're saying are about me, I want to understand that. And that changes marriage.
I think it changes, it helps with your relationship with your children too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so much. We've got eustress or excitement versus distress of anxiety, worth and worthiness, serving, saving, loyalty versus enmeshment, accomplishment versus pride. So, with that said, I would love, I promise that we're going to talk about the emotional pendulum, right? So,
yeah,
here is the trigger or the stimulus, and between the stimulus and the response is a gap. We get to choose. In that gap, we get to choose, and we can either choose suppression, that I'm going to bottle this up, I'm going to hold this in, I'm not going to do anything about it. We can choose aggression or under regulation, So the suppression is over regulation, or we can choose under regulation. But here's where it gets good. We can also choose expression. Instead of suppression or aggression, we can choose expression. We can tap into the authentic emotion, and we can find that authentic. And notice the pendulum, right? The opposite of uncentered is still uncentered. That aggression and suppression, they don't serve us. The over
One thing that I've noticed is with like there are certain things that I have an emotional response with. I just like if you say a certain thing, it feels like an attack, even though it's not necessarily. I
yeah,
have to walk. I have to leave the situation that minute because I don't want to respond aggressive. And I remember there was a talk, and you probably remember, is like this leader in our church that basically is like da 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 da, and he's a wonderful human being. It's like, guys, and even I get upset with my wife, and I have to spend my time outside. And he's like, hey, brethren, I have been outside a lot and and that has already resonated with me because I'm just like because I would rather not say anything that I would regret and just walk outside and take a breath for a second and realize it's not that big of a deal. And then come and then do the expression. I don't know how you feel about that, but that's kind of what I have done and I continue to do when certain minute stupid things that I know it's on me, it's not on anyone else. I'm like, this should not trigger me to be upset, but it does. And so therefore, I'm just like, "Okay, instead of me saying something stupid, I'm walking away for a second." So,
yeah.
I don't know. Well, I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Dude, I'm so glad you brought that up because where we feel the biggest emotions is where we need to dig.
Oh, like, why is it triggering me?
Exactly. Get curious with yourself and take full stewardship of your emotion. It here's something that is going to go contrary to probably everything you've heard, but no one can make you feel anything. No one
I hate
can
when
make
people
you
say that.
no one can make you feel mad. No one can make you feel sad. No one can make you feel. That's ours. We are the stewards of our own feelings, our own emotions. That's us. And you think about this, we're like, well, no, no, no. If somebody hits me in the face, I have to get mad. Is it true? Do you have to? I think about Gandhi when he was burning papers in front of the British soldiers in South Africa. And the soldier walks up, hits him in the face with the butt of the gun, and he falls to the ground. And and he stands up and he grabs some more of the documents, the papers, and throws them in the fire. And the guy hits him again. We don't have to. Our emotions are ours. And it's so funny because you can test this. Some people get mad at something and other people have no response to this because our emotions are ours. We get to own them. And here's the thing, we don't want to suppress them. And we don't want
When do you decide to defend yourself when it's I don't know how I don't know how to explain this, but, like, you're getting punched in the face. When do you decide that, "Hey, it's time to defend myself," you know what I mean? Like,
yes,
instead of saying, like, Jordan, I, turn the other cheek, and Kenny's like, "Walk out," and that's when you dig into how you feel, like, all that, but when do you decide
yes, yes,
instead of saying because like, if you think about it, like, it anger is what was it what's is anger the counterfeit?
yeah. Anger is the counterfeit of advocacy.
That
Yep.
so I just don't get this. This is mind-boggling right now, and normally I get it. I
Yeah.
you're telling me you are telling me this is my Nacho Libre accent. You're telling me no, you you're telling me like I shouldn't ever get angry, even if someone is mean to my children or someone or me defending my wife, like a robber comes in or so. I have such a hard time understanding this. I just want to make sure.
Yeah. And this is critical. This is critical because anger is the counterfeit of advocacy. So if you think here, let's dive into this, because you
We're
think
gonna go a
about,
little bit later, but I have a tax meeting at 7.
okay,
So I'm gonna
okay,
text him while you're talking. I'm gonna be a tad late.
okay. No, this is so good because anger is the counterfeit of advocacy. And here's another truth. If imagine each pair or dyad, each pair of emotions are twins. Okay. Anger looks and acts and feels like advocacy, but it creates that destructive cycle of disconnection, right? And there's only two reasons you'll ever get angry. Only two. The first is danger. If the bear's chasing you in the woods, pick up the stick and poke it in the eye. It's important to get angry at that point. Yes. If the bear is coming at you, if your life is in danger, yes, pick up the stick. The other is a perceived injustice. And I say perceived because it may or may not be a true injustice. And and the difference is that anger leads to destruction. Advocacy leads to constructive behavior. And you cannot advocate comes from the Latin word advocare. And so advocare means to invite in. I'm not saying get hit in the face 100 times. I'm not saying that. I'm saying change anger to advocacy. Anytime the counterfeit emotion pops up, it actually wants you to talk to its twin. It doesn't want to hang around. As soon as the twin gets on the emotional bus of your soul, then the counterfeit is like, okay, sweet, I'm out.
So
I don't need.
basically, you can defend without being angry. You
Yes,
can you can show aggression without being angry.
yes. You
Okay.
can not aggression, expression. You can say, I'm
Well,
not.
no, isn't aggression defending your family? Okay, expression. I hear what you're saying, but sometimes, like to me, masculinity is being able to like rip someone's head off, but being able to say, okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be in control and take care. You know what I mean? So if someone is physically harming my children or something like that, don't you have to be aggressive, or
You,
do
you,
you call that expression?
you need to be protective, not aggressive. You need to be protective. Yeah.
Too many words.
Protective, aggressive. Yeah. It's really important to defend your
Sorry,
family.
we never talked about this, and now my mind's going 100 miles an hour.
Yeah. It's really important to defend your family. It's really important to be masculine, but masculine doesn't mean mean. Masculine doesn't mean angry and rage monster and hateful. You can defend without hate. You can defend without rage. You can defend without anger. You can defend in love. And that's where we often get it wrong. Is like, no, I have to hate this person. I have to be angry. Look what they're doing. You don't. You can still be bold. You can still in advocacy, you can be amazingly bold. And we did this survey, so you'll know you'll know the answer to this. But let's ask the guys in the chat: who is Bobby Seale or Huey Newton? Don't
I
Google it.
actually don't know.
Nobody Google it. Nobody Google this. Who is Bobby Seale and Huey Newton? And it's okay if you don't know. If you don't know, just write IDK in the
I know
comment.
Wayne Newton.
Wayne Newton. Sweet. Wayne Newton's awesome. Lots of people are like, Huey Lewis? No, Huey Newton. Um, out of the thousands and thousands of people I've asked this question to, yeah, there's been 3 people out of thousands that I've asked this question to. Nobody knows. But let me ask you another question. Fig Newtons. Those are good. Let me ask you another question. Who is Martin Luther King Jr.?
Oh yeah, I know him.
Everybody knows him. Everybody on planet Earth knows him. Every major city in the US has a Martin Luther King Jr. street. The number of junior
Hmm.
highs and high schools
There's a
named after.
holiday.
There's a holiday. Other countries know him. But why do you not know Huey Newton and Bobby Seale? They started the Black Panthers. the militant group that would firebomb cars and
Oh,
kill
wow.
police officers, and they went destructive. They went to anger. They saw that injustice. So remember, there's the stimulus. The stimulus was the stimulus was that there is an injustice. And in this case, it's a true injustice of racism, an absolute true injustice. One group said, I'm going to take that over to anger. The other group said, I'm not going to stand for this. But what I will stand for is I will stand at the base of the Lincoln Memorial and I will stand with 1 million people as we say, this is not okay. This is not okay.
So no hate.
No hate.
They're up, yeah, and they're expressing themselves. I get it now. I get it.
That's when we change the world. That's when we change the world, is when we invite people in. Advocare means to invite in. Advocate means to invite in. And it's funny, you cannot use the word advocate and against in the same sentence. It's impossible. It's impossible. That it doesn't fit. You can only say advocate for. You can say fight against, you can say rage against, you can say hate against, but you cannot say advocate against. Because when you advocate not
Dude,
only
shut
for
up.
your
That's a tidbit that I need to have right there. That is amazing. That was deep. Sorry, I really like that. I have to just tell
Thanks,
you.
man.
That's all.
I love you. I love you, brother. Yes, it's amazing because once we move to advocacy, we no longer have to dive into anger, because anger is satisfied when it knows I'm going to act, when it's not passivity.
So you're advocating for your wife. You're not fighting. Shut up. This is cool. I love it.
and and when we
That
do
changes
that,
everything in my mind. That just clicked everything in my, oh, okay. And so yeah, I get it. Love it. Thank you. Continue.
you're welcome. And so when we go there, when we go to that place of advocacy, then anger is fulfilled. Anger says, I don't need to be here anymore. My twin has this. My twin has this. And it's not passivity, because if we go and look at
No,
the
Martin Luther King was not passive.
yeah, yeah. When we look at the pendulum, you've got aggression or anger or hate. The other side is suppression or passivity of, oh, I see this injustice, but I'm not going to do anything about it. I see, this neighbor kid beating up my kid, but I'm not going to do anything about it. No, that's the other side of the pendulum. That's this side of the pendulum. The other is, oh, I'm going to go beat up that kid if he's hurting my kid, right? That doesn't help either. Right here is where we sit down and we look them in the eye. And there's an amazing story about the Black Klansman. And it's this black guy who sat down with the Grand Master of the KKK and said, I want to see you. I want to understand you. He literally went to a hotel room, and the the Grand Dragon was there with armed guards, guys with literal machine guns. And he sat down with him and he said, let's talk. And month after month went by and they continued to talk. And eventually the Grand Dragon went over to his son's birthday party. And then he started talking. And all of a sudden he said, you know what? I can't do this anymore, because
Wow.
I see you. And that's the difference. This guy could have raged and said, oh, we're gonna replace violence with violence. We're going to, fight fire with fire. We're going to knock heads. Instead, he said, let's just see each other, because you cannot hate someone that you see. You can hate an object. You can hate somebody or something that isn't like real. You can do that all day long, but you can't hate someone you see. It doesn't work.
All right. So we're past the time,
Okay.
and I appreciate you doing that, but I want to ask one more question.
Yeah.
And this is a final question, then I have another meeting, and you have
Okay.
family, and
Okay.
everyone else has other things to do, and I
Yeah.
appreciate everyone for sticking around because this is actually this has been one of my favorites, like, I've really, really enjoyed this. So, I wrote this down, and I'm like, if someone was listening today, feels stuck emotionally, but doesn't know why, what would you want them to understand? Meaning, there's a lot of us that are striving to be better, are striving to understand ourselves better, striving to understand why do I feel this way, but they're stuck. Like not like they might want to go to therapy, but they don't dare or they can't afford it, or there's so many different things that are going through their mind, like I'm not a good dad. Like I wish I could do this for them, and all this. Just what would you give them to feel unstuck? As if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. The first thing that I would say is have compassion on you. Have compassion on the person inside. That person is doing the best they can with the tools they have. And maybe we haven't learned the tools yet. Maybe we haven't figured out, but every person, like I said at the beginning, there's no such thing as a bad human. There's some destructive actions, yeah, but have compassion on you that you are doing the best you can with the tools you've got. And sometimes we don't have the tools, but we can get them. I didn't. It took me till I was over 40 years old to start understanding this stuff. And now I wake up every morning instead of a pit in my stomach. I wake up every morning with peace. There's so much hope, you guys. There's so much hope. And I'm getting emotional even thinking about it. Like it used to be miserable. And now that I've added these tools, I wake up with peace. I wake up with joy. I wake up with excitement. If there's one message I could share is that there's hope. And do the digging. Do the digging in your soul. Wherever you're feeling that emotion, that's where you need to dig. Get out your shovel and start digging. Because when you do, then all of a sudden that part of your soul can be at peace. That part of your soul can rest. Spend the daily effort to dig every day.
I appreciate it. I'm just reading everyone's comments, and
Yeah,
I you definitely have affected a lot of people. You affected me. I learned a lot today. So thank you for being here, Curtis. And again, guys, I here's one of Curtis's books. Um, how do they find your books if they want to read your books? And then also, how do they get a hold of you if they need to like to take some of your classes or courses or just, tell you thank you?
yeah, great ways. Instagram, it's authentic Curtis. That's been flowing on the ticker here. LinkedIn also, love LinkedIn. If you're struggling with pornography and want to join one of our recovery pro cohorts, please come join us. It will change your life. It will change your life forever. It will change your marriage. It will change your relationship with your kids. Please, like I can't express it deeply enough. There is so much hope. Come join us. It's counterfeitemotions.com. Here, I'll just throw it in the chat. It's counterfeitemotions.com slash recovery. And um, and we're doing another cohort in April. So it's
Am I a part of that one? Did we decide?
yes, you are. Yes, for sure.
I can't remember. I was supposed to do the last one before, but I decided to do the improv class.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, come join us. Come spend the time digging and come find peace. You guys, there's so much peace. It's there. It's there waiting for you. Come join it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Curtis, for being on. And everyone, thank you so much for being attentive and just asking him some amazing questions. And it means a lot that you were here, Curtis, and everyone else. So thank you so much. And again, we will be live Friday, 7 o'clock Eastern, with From Stumble to Style with just me. And bring your questions and we'll talk. Thank you, Curtis.
Thanks, guys. Thanks,
See
everyone.
you guys.